Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
Are you a god?
I'd buy that for $1.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
When someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes.
Welcome to my latest experiment. This is the big one, the one I've been waiting for all my life.
We have such sights to show you.
And we're back. We're back for another episode on Bill and Claire's Excellent Adventures. Today, like Anna and the Apocalypse, we're doing something different. Instead of watching it at home in the Indie Dorks Theater, we're going to go to the Alamo or a different theater and watch it instead of watching it in the Indie Dorks place.
And do you have a preference if we could go either to an Alamo or to another theater? Where would you prefer to go?
Alamo, because the last time we went to another theater for Anna and the Apocalypse, you had to buy food for another theater. I liked that theater because you didn't have to wait a long time. And for Alamo, by the time if you order at the beginning, 30 minutes later your food comes. But if you get the food from another theater, a lot of times they won't let you order it inside, but you're allowed to eat it inside. And so it's better because you won't have to wait a long time for your food. You have it with you that time.
So you'd rather go to a theater where you have to you have to walk with your own two legs to a place to get food and then carry food back to your seat?
But if you remember that other theater, it was like right next to the movie theaters. It's like you didn't even have to walk that far. You just had to walk out of your seat, walk out the exit doors, and go get your food.
I disagree.
And also,
very
you could just
strongly
get
with
it
your
before
opinion.
that.
No. We disagree very much on that. I absolutely think you should go to a theater where you sit in your chair, and then they bring you stuff. Plus, you can't get it, but like they have a much bigger selection of drinks for adults than the what is that we went to? It's the AMC, because it was out of Tyson's, which is, there's no slight against AMC. I'm just saying, Alamo does it better in my opinion. Anyways, I think we're sidetracked.
But because it has more drinks on Alamo, it has less drinks for the kids.
Well,
more of the stuff is smoothies than actual drinks.
That's okay. Would you rather watch a movie at the house or at a movie theater?
I'll get back to you on that.
You don't have an answer straight away?
No, because when I'm at the house, I'm allowed to slunge around if I wanted to. But when I'm at a movie, like I could lay down if I wanted to. I could drift away from the movie and think about something in my own head. And then we could play it over again if I wanted to, if we wanted to, or like replay that scene because someone went to the bathroom and you forgot to pause it or something like that. You couldn't do that in a movie theater.
That's true.
But movie theaters do have already, it's like it just came from a place. Like it just came from the oven or just came from ice cream. Like the ice cream, it's not melted by the time you get it.
That's true.
For us, because it's so hot in our theater room, by the time it gets down there, it's already melting down your hand.
I don't know about that. But it is warmer in the theater room because the air conditioning is in the guest bedroom part. So I think it doesn't circulate the air so well. It gets warm down there if you've been down there for a while. Wow. Huh. So I can't tell. Was that a vote for a movie theater and is your voting system based entirely on ice cream consumption?
No. It's just an example.
Okay. All right. Did we say what movie we're going to watch yet?
I don't know. I don't know, but I'm just going to say it.
Okay.
Wait, I think we did. I think I sort of drifted away, but I think I might have mumbled it and maybe they heard. I said, so I introed and said, hey, we're back, blah, 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 blah. Today we're going to do something different. Just like in the Apocalypse, we're going to go watch Captain Marvel at a movie theater instead of at the house.
Well, there you go, guys. I don't have to loop it back and do the edit to drop that that language into C. Claire just played it back for you. All right, so we're gonna go see Captain Marvel. Now, okay, so I don't know if everybody knows. Why don't you talk a little bit about the Marvel movies that you've seen and what you like about what you've seen so far, and it can be any of the Marvel movies.
Is the movie about the people who go back in space time? It's Wrinkle in Time? Is that Disney or Marvel?
That's Disney.
Oh, well, I like Marvel because it has more action movies, and then I like Disney because it has more like romantic sci-fi movies.
Oh, okay,
sort of thing.
okay.
Like Dumbo is sort of like a sci-fi because I think a sci-fi movie is anything that's like scientific or it flies.
I like that.
Because most people think that Aliens are more sci-fi movie, but
Sure.
because most aliens fly.
Uh-huh.
But really, if there was a real alien, he would fly, but it's not because it's not because he has wings or anything. Well, he could, but they probably wouldn't work. But it's because his body is light, and then with all the pressure, it just every now and then he might go.
So I'm curious. Do you remember watching Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah.
What do you think about that movie?
I liked it. The only one I wasn't like.
Well, hang on. What do you like about Guardians of the Galaxy?
I like that it has people you can trust, and then people you can't.
Okay.
And then sometimes that changes. So like in Guardians of the Galaxy, where Nebula becomes a good girl because she realized what Thanos and all those people are doing. So you can now trust her because she's realized the error of her ways.
That's true.
But honestly, I would be mad too if every time I didn't beat my sister, I was turned into a robot.
Yeah, I imagine that would do some serious
Because remember,
things to you.
in part of the movie, she said, the only reason I'm like this is because every time you beat me, whatever their pretend father is, said I had to change, took one of my body parts out and turned it into a robot part so that I could try and beat you. And even to this day, I can't.
This is pretty horrible, right?
Yeah.
How would you feel if I turned you slowly into a robot every time your sisters beat you at something?
Honestly, I don't think I would have a lot of body parts.
You don't think you would have a lot of body parts?
I mean, I don't think I would have a lot of robot body parts.
Because you win all the time, is
yes,
what you're
mostly
saying.
I win. Mostly I win. The only part I don't win is garbage racing. So it's where we take a piece of garbage. So it's where we have to take out the trash. We turn it into something fun. So we start at the top of the stairs. We don't run down them, but we'd like speed walk down them. And once we get to the step, we run and see who can throw their garbage in the trash and then get back up the stairs the fastest. Whoever gets there first wins. I'm not very fast at that because mostly they always give me the heaviest garbage. They never let me take light. So I'm always trailing behind because I'm holding the garbage.
You're bigger than them, Claire. But okay, let's focus back up. Now you were saying that there was something about Guardians of the Galaxy that you didn't like. Was it 1 or 2?
The latest one.
Okay, so number 2. What did you not like about that?
I didn't like how every time there's a move, remember when he was explaining? Remember when he showed was his name Lucas, the guy who lost his mother at a very young age and was picked up by those aliens people?
That's Star-Lord.
Star-Lord.
Yeah.
Remember when Star-Lord saw all the skeletons of his father's of the people his father's killed because he didn't get a son that actually did what he wanted.
Had the same power as his dad. Yeah. So you didn't like that part?
Yeah, I didn't like that.
How come?
Because he also said that he would kill. Cause he said that he would kill the mother of them, and that he would kill the son or daughter.
Mm-hmm. If they didn't stack up.
It's a little unsettling.
Yeah, unsettling is the right word for it.
It'd be unsettling if I was Star-Lord and that was you who did that.
If I had a bunch of children that I murdered their moms, yes. I give you permission to be unsettled should that ever become true.
Because I like my mommy.
But since I'll basically be a god, I mean, probably it'll be okay for me. All right, let's finish out this segment. You've seen the Captain Marvel trailer. I think we're all excited to go see Captain Marvel. So what are you excited or not excited about having seen the trailer?
I kind of don't like how in all the other movies Nick Fury's like, yeah, you want to join me? You have some special powers. And then in this one he's like, should I trust you? Because I've seen a lot of normal girls who can shoot fire out of their fists.
Yeah, it was kind of a character shift for him, right? To kind of be unaccustomed to that. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I mean, I've seen the movie, so I'm actually very excited for you to take a look at it now, because I'm be curious to see what you think after you've watched the movie about that particular fact. Anything else you want to say?
Actually, I have a question.
Okay.
Remember when we saw Infinity War?
Yep.
When they gave you a trivia on Nick Fury,
So
and you had to answer a question to get a prize.
Yeah. So when we went to see Infinity War, a local comic shop had kind of set up a booth in the lobby of the Alamo Drafthouse in Loudon. And when we walked out, they were asking everybody trivia questions so that you could get swag from the movie, merchandise and stuff. And Claire walked out and was like, I'm going to answer some trivia questions. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. That sounds horrible. What if I get it wrong? I'm so anxious in situations like that. It's really hard for me. But Claire walked up to the booth and they asked, what eye
patch
does Nick Fury wear an eye patch over? And Claire got it. She thought about it, deduced it, figured it out, got the answer. I wasn't 100% sure what the answer was. I mean, obviously, I could guess. If you look at the screen,
it looks like it's a right eye. Yeah. But if you flip over like this, it's really so his right is your left,
his left eye.
His left is your right, so you would say left eye instead of right eye. Because if you said right eye, that would be if you were looking at the screen. But if you were faced like he was, you would actually have left eye.
Yep.
So that's what I thought about. And I actually did explain it to them.
Yeah, no, she talked out her logic. She was 100% certain in her answer. I was very nervous for her. She was not. And she won it. And they gave her a pretty sweet challenge coin for Infinity War.
They told me I could pick between a cool poster or a medallion. And I picked medallion because I was because a lot of times when I get posters, sometimes they get ripped from them falling from not very good stickies. So I chose a medallion because I would be able to keep it in my pocket, keep it in my piggy bank. And I wouldn't have to hang it up on the wall where it could fall.
All right. Well, we got to get out of here if we're going to go catch this movie. Yeah. So I guess let's go ahead and close this out, and then we'll see you back on the other.
Yeah, right. See you on this other side, peeps. Not meaning to be rude.
Okay.
It's just been like maybe 10 or so minutes since, because we watched it in a movie theater. And we can't record at the movie theater.
Right.
We'd have all this chattering in the background. It would be like... while we record.
So now, before we went to the Alamo, you were like, oh, I don't know, I like the MC too. Have you decided that you love the Alamo Drafthouse again, or are you still, it could be either theater?
Either theater.
Really?
Yeah. Because in the other theater it has more 3D than 2D. This one it barely even has 3D anymore.
Yeah, but what even is the point of 3D? What a waste of time.
But I like it. It looks like it's coming out at me, and I like to feel I'm inside the movie. And that's a big part of it if you have 3D. Oh, I just remembered. We forgot to do the credits last time. Well,
that's right.
The first recording.
All right.
God.
So I'm pulling it up. What did you think of the movie, Claire? Just quick, top of the line. Did you enjoy it?
Awesome. Oh, by the way, again, I know that we say this a lot, but we want you to remind. So if you're not watching, so if this is like the first episode you're watching, you should probably go back and watch the movie first and then watch, because we're going to give a lot of spoiler alerts.
Well, I don't know how many alerts there'll be, but there'll definitely be spoilers. So.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not too often that we do a movie that's out in the theater that people may not have seen yet. I personally, I think it's not so much what happens, but how it happens. which is a line that I've stolen from the podcast Switchblade Sisters, which I think is amazing. If you haven't listened to that, you should take a listen. But the host of that podcast, that's her big thing, is that, it's not so much what happens, but how it happens that makes it worth engaging with. And so spoiler isn't so bad. But if you are spoiler averse, now's the time to hit pause and run out to your local movie theater and check this movie out. And then we'll see you back on the other side. Pause once for them to hit their pause button so that they can stop before we really dive into it. Although there's going to be no spoilers now. All right.
Optional pause.
I'm really just, optional pause. I'm really just stalling so that we had enough time for me to pull up the writer and director and the stars. So, all right, Claire.
Sorry.
Credits.
So Carol... Wait, I can't read that. That's like too tiny.
That's like too tiny.
Carol Danvers becomes one of the universe's most powerful heroes when Earth is caught in the middle of a galactic war between two alien races. The two alien again, spoiler alerts. The two alien races are, well, not counting Earth, is the Skrulls, which at first when I heard about them, I thought that they were aliens in the shape of a scroll.
Alien a scroll. Yeah.
And then and the second race is the Krees, which because there's an animal that sounds like cricket. Sometimes I call it a cricket because it makes a sound that sounds like it's like So for a minute I thought that they were aliens shaped like that they were aliens who sounded like humans and all that, but looked like crickets.
All right, but it is important to call things by their proper names. So it's Kree and Skrull, right?
Kree and Skrull.
All right, so who directed it?
Directors are Anna Boden. Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck. The writers are Anna Boden, screenplay. She was by screenplay. Ryan, screenplay, and Geneva Robertson Dwore.
I would say probably Geneva Robertson Dwore.
Geneva Robertson Dwore. And then I think, wait, are these... Oh, that was screenplay. This is story. The story is by Nicole Perlman, Meg Lefauve, Anna Boden, Ryan Fleck, Geneva Robertson Duarte.
And the main cast?
Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson, Ben Mendelsohn, Jude Law, Annette Bening, Lashana Lynch, Clark Gregg, Rude Tempt.
I think that's probably far enough down the line.
Oh, and Brie. Hey, I didn't get to say the actors. So Brie Larson. Brie played Carol Danvers, or Captain Marvel, whatever you want to call it. Sam played Nick, played Fury. Ben played Talos or Keller.
That was the main Skrull.
Yeah, so the main Skrull. Jude played Jan Rog.
That was
the main Kree person.
Yep.
Annette Bening played the Supreme Intelligence, which was pretty cool.
And also Dr. Lawson then.
And
Marvel.
Marvel.
Yeah, why does IMDb letting her down? I mean, Ben Mendelsohn and Brie Larson get the / treatment. It should be Supreme Intelligence / Wendy Lawson / Marvel.
Well, she did look a little bit different than the other two. So maybe they were each played by a different character. Maybe that's why. No. Wait, look, if you go down, it was another Marva. Like, I saw.
This.
Oh.
And then Lashana Lynch played Maria Rambeau.
Clark Gregg played Agent Coulson, and Rude Tempt played Ron Parr.
All right. So, now, let's see. What should we talk about first?
No, not screenplay. The basic look of it. The reason I picked that is because I wanted to tell them my favorite parts.
All right, let's do it.
So my first favorite part was when they found out about the cat being a flurkin.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, "I told you." Well, he didn't say that, but in my head I imagined him in that scene saying, I told you that! I told you should.
And I liked how they set it up. I really like that joke because they do set it up because you think that Talos is just being silly around a cat. Like, because it's just a cat, right? And he's mistaken it for this terrifying beast. Which, like, I mean, cats are terrifying beasts, but...
Hey, I like cats.
Okay.
Lacey wasn't a terrifying cat, and you're calling cats a beast.
If
so
you
you
say
call
so.
Lacey a beast, and you loved her.
I did.
I can imagine
and
Lacey's
I did.
soul. I can imagine Lacey's ghost right now just crying
I
and
doubt that very much.
scratching you.
I think you did not know that cat well enough. But no, I like that. I like the setup for the gag. I think it's pretty great. What was your other favorite part?
My other favorite part was when she was fighting the people, and then they were playing that, and then they were playing I'm Only a Girl.
I'm Just a Girl.
I'm Just a Girl.
By No Doubt.
By No Doubt.
Sung by Gwen
Honestly,
Stefani.
I like the flashback music, but I don't like the band name because in the car we were discussing about it, and you said the band name is called Garbage.
I'm Only Happy When It Rains is that one. Is the name the Garbage is the name of the band.
Yeah, but why would you name your band Garbage if they have amazing songs? Because like you're just saying because basically a whole bunch of people were probably interested from Garbage. It's like, our music is trash. We're trash. Don't listen to this. It's going to be garbage. That's why our name is called Garbage.
You know, that's a weird, like, 90s grunge music thing. I mean, what they're doing is that people called that style of music garbage music because it was different than what used to be there. And an older generation looked at that new music and said, this is garbage. And so this band... They were like, what are we going to call ourselves? Everybody calls us Garbage. Let's just call ourselves Garbage and own the name. This is my suspicion. I don't know 100% that's why Garbage called themselves Garbage, but I'm going to guess that that's probably what it was. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Kind of?
Yes.
Seems silly?
No. If
So
I was back then, I would say, hey, if you don't have anything nice, keep it to yourself because their music is not garbage, so you shush.
Yeah.
So you shush your potholes.
All right, but so we're talking about the look of the movie, and I mean, I think the cat and the cat effects look great. It reminded me of Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy in the first one.
I am Groot.
You remember at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy when Groot shoots his tree roots down the hallway, and then he looks back at Star-Lord with this big goofy grin on his face? I almost felt like the cat. The cat was using its mouth, so there was definitely a big goofy grin with all the tentacles coming out that swallowed those guys. But no, I thought the fight scene looked really great. Like I enjoyed a lot of the fight sequences. What did you think? Did you like the action, the look, and the feel of it?
Yeah, but I know that I was just explaining this to you, but I know you guys haven't heard about it, but I've talked about this before. I kind of feel like I talked a little bit about it before you even asked the question.
Well, I mean, I think a little bit that's the weird part for us in the way that we do the podcast, by switching it up and going to the movies instead of doing it here, because you know, in every other instance, the first conversation you have about this movie really is
in the podcast.
Yeah, it really is in the podcast. And I think because like this time, and I think we had the same challenge with Ant and the Apocalypse, is that it, you know, because we talked in the car on the way back, and then it came time to come in and sit down and have the conversation. It felt like we'd already talked about it. Yeah. So, but because we're doing the podcast, I think that, you know, this is everybody's first time. So let's focus in on what you enjoyed about the fight scene.
I like the music.
Yeah, I think the music's great. Did it make you want to... listen to more No Doubt music? Because I'm sure we could get that on Amazon Music.
No. It made me want to see the movie again, though.
So what else did you enjoy about the fight scene? You love the music. What else?
I liked that it was right before she got her all fiery power.
Mm-hmm.
And they kept saying, we could take the power away from you. We can take it away. But really, all they could do was just make sense. It felt like it was gone, but really there was a chip that controlled her power. When she took that out, it released all the power.
Mm-hmm. What did you think? Yeah, so the
I
chip
thought that it was more fun when she took the chip out than when she just had the little power when she was doing that fight scene.
Why did you think it looked more fun?
Because she could use her whole power, and it looked and it could have more effects than the little thing, because she could blast and stuff on like a normal, like non-normal people, but blasters could do the same thing. But blasters couldn't do what she had with her full power.
Right, I agree. Why do you think the Supreme Intelligence put that chip in her then?
Probably because they were afraid of her power, and they were afraid that she would find out, and they were afraid she would use it to overthrow them.
Maybe they were afraid that she would use her power to do what she wanted to, instead of what they wanted.
Yeah, maybe. But I think it's still... But I think you just said a simpler version of what I said.
That's the first time that's ever happened to me. I usually say the way more complicated version of something simple. That's interesting. What did you think about at the end when Jude Law, right, Jan Rog is like, I'm so proud of you. Yes, this is your moment. This is your moment to knock me down without using your powers. Prove to me that you can do it. And she blasts him. What did you think of what he was trying to do, and what did you think of her response?
Well, before that happened, he was like, before the blast, he was like, this could be your moment to not let your emotions overthrow you. And she was like, don't you think I've learned that lesson already? 100 times. I'm gonna put it back on you.
So, do you feel like in their duel that he challenged her to, do you feel like she cheated, or do you feel like she did what she should?
I feel like to him she cheated, but to her, it's him trying to cheat to get him to win. Because remember, every time she fought him without her powers, she always lost because he was more stronger, but she was stronger in power. All he had was magnetism, and her strong stuff could overthrow that. And you saw that. It's like a volleyball throw. The volleyball can't resist your powerful serving hand or your setting hand or your bump. It can't, because it's just a ball.
Do you think that he was trying to manipulate her and trick her into losing the fight by doing that?
I think she's trying. Because if you remember, every time she lost, she had let her emotions overthrow her at the end. I think he was trying to let her emotions throw her over at the beginning, so he would immediately win the fight.
That's interesting. Do you think that her emotions got in the way for her in the movie as a character at any point?
Yeah.
Like when? Fighting. You think, how did they get in the way for fighting?
Because if you saw, because he said, even when she was on his side, he was always saying, you keep letting your emotions overcome you and turning you to the easier, more commoner side. Your enemies won't care about that. When you do that, they'll knock you out and put you in whatever.
Well, I definitely agree that distraction is a problem when you're fighting somebody. When anybody's fighting somebody, if you're distracted by something, it's a problem. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think that the emotion is actually bad for her? And here's what I want you to think about. You remember the last time that she is in the computer with the Supreme Intelligence, and they're playing the Nirvana song, and the Supreme Intelligence tries to shut her down, and she pops that chip out and breaks free, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that emotion got in her way there, or do you think that emotion helped her?
I think emotion helped her for that, but she was feeling sorry for him is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, it's like what I was talking about at the car with whether I wanted, with I'm not going to get too much into that, but the point is, I was talking about how I would like to imagine it weather the situation. If the thing that happened was the reason, so like soccer was the reason that I was on crutches, I wouldn't want to imagine that. But if it was just something that had stayed with me for a living and it wasn't even the food's fault, like your Chick-fil-A thing, I would want to imagine eating that because I love that, and it wasn't because of the food that did that. It was because of my tummy.
But how do you make a connection to emotion for that? That's what I don't understand.
Well, for him, he was her best friend.
Jan Rog?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And she always felt sorry for him. He always helped her. But then she found out what was really real, and then she wouldn't let her emotions overcome her anymore because he's on the bad side now. He never was on the good side. To her, she thought that, but to him, he was using her to get what he wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know, I think that one of the points of the movie is that guys will tell you a lot of time that emotion is the problem. That you're too emotional.
Like in Judy B. Jones, the Gussie Valentine, Mean Joe or something, his name, her biggest enemy, gave her a secret Valentine, and the only reason he was mean to her was because he liked her, and he was afraid of what she would say if he asked her.
But do you know why I think that is? I think that's because we tell boys and men that they shouldn't show emotion, that emotion gets in the way of stuff. And when they like a girl like Junie B. Jones, they don't know how to share that. And they don't know how to talk to her because they've been told their whole life that they're not supposed to have those emotions, that those emotions are not good.
And it's girls who are supposed to show that emotion, and you're supposed to take advantage of that.
Right. But I don't think emotion is a weakness at all. I think being comfortable with your emotions, whether they're happy or sad or angry or whatever, is healthy.
Or sorry.
Yeah, or sorry. Any of them.
Honestly, you know? I think she let her. I think it's depending on the situation. If she's angry at him, like in that end scene, she's like.
But she was right at the end.
And she's like, I don't need to prove it to you. I've already got what I need, and I don't need your prove-its. And besides, I'm not even on your side anymore. So leave me out of this, okay?
Yeah. I mean, if some dude who's not as strong as you tells you to fight weaker so that it's a fair fight.
It's not even a fair fight.
The whole point is to win, not to fight fair. It's such a weird thing to say.
Well, not the whole point. If it was like one of those wrestles, you're supposed to fight fair by the rules. Otherwise, you won't be able to win. You'll be fouled, and the other guy would win automatically. What? I've been watching wrestle.
That's fine. I think that's good.
Well, I don't watch wrestles. We're getting off topic.
Yeah. So, what did you think overall of Captain Marvel as a character? Did you enjoy her? Do you think that she was well constructed? Did her choices make sense to you?
I liked her, but I think she was too harsh at the end. Because remember, when she showed up with the communication device, because she was right there, that's why it shut down, she was like, where's Fury? They were like,
who are you? What's happening here? They didn't know her.
For some reason, I can imagine the scene going on, and they'd be like, who are you? And they're like, I'm the start of all this. I'm Captain Marvel.
Were you saying, or was your sister saying in the car that this is out of order, that since it came that they should have made this movie
I said that
first?
in the movie theater, and then Harper said that in the car.
Yeah. You think this movie should have come first?
Yeah, because
Why?
It's the start of the movie. I don't think it should come after like 100 other Marvel movies were made. And it even shows how Nick Fury got his patched eye.
Would you have guessed it was from a Flerken scratch?
No.
Yeah.
Honestly, I guess because in one of the movies he talked about how he's in a car crash to one of the Avengers people, and I thought that the car crash
would be the thing that would do the eye. Yeah. I like how they put that for a joke. I enjoyed that. Let's see, what else should we talk about?
we didn't talk about the screenplay, like the whole story and the moral of what they're trying to tell you.
Well, I think since it's so brand new, let's steer clear of the whole story, like just a breakdown of the whole story. I think the synopsis that we read at the beginning of this was fine, but I would be very curious to hear what you think the moral of this movie is.
I think the moral is that if you have if you have a problem of letting your emotions overcome you, or you have something to say, I think you should say it. Because, she always had something to say, but he was like, shh, your opinions don't matter. It's only your fighting and powers that matter. So I think when she found that friend, she was like, I finally found someone who understands me.
That's important, right?
Yeah.
To make connections.
Well, she technically already had that friend. She just found her again.
I think that's one of the parts that I love about the movie. I do, like, you see Agent Coulson, right, make a choice in the movie to let Nick Fury and Captain Marvel escape, right? Yeah. And he's so new on the job, and he can only really just know Nick Fury at this point. But he still has total faith in him, and he supports his partner's move. And I think that's something that I appreciate about this movie, especially the second time around, just watching, is that, like, it's about the importance of having faith in somebody, even when you think they have every reason not to be faithful. And I think that's an important life lesson, don't you?
So, I know my moral was pretty long, but to sum it up, if you have something to say it, and if someone's not believed, and if you think someone's a good friend, but they never let you say your opinions, they're not.
Damn straight. Damn straight. Damn straight. Yeah, that's the worst, man. You gotta watch out for people who shut down your opinions.
There are a lot of, like, soliloquies.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
Soliloquies.
What's a soliloquy?
Shakespeare said that it's when a character can really express her emotions.
Interesting. I had no idea you knew that. But yeah, there was a lot of those.
Yeah, I think so, because towards the end, she was showing her emotions more than she was keeping them inside.
Well, I think that's
instead of deciding to go to Disney World, she decided to stay at home and do something fun. And so she unpacked, and so like in a movie I watched, it's called Unpacking. It's called Moving, and at the end of the movie, the girl or boy, I can't remember which, throws her suitcase up, it opens, and then the clothes fly everywhere. So it's like her emotions flying everywhere, and her soliloquies coming out with them.
I kind of think, too, that it's about, like, if you have a special skill or talent that no one else can do, the last thing you should take off at anybody is somebody coming up and telling you that for some reason you need to prove that you can do things without your special talent or skill. Because, right, like, you got to be who you are at the end of the day.
Like, my special talent or skill is I can see things where there aren't things. So, like, I can see a moral when there probably wasn't a moral in the story.
I think there's plenty of morals. I think that you're very observant.
Well, sort of like how plants are like living things, but I don't want to take 30 seconds talking about one thing, so let's move on to the next thing, because we already have like 35 minutes on our plate.
Yeah. So I think really kind of all I wanted to say was, you know, I think if you have a special skill or that you're very talented at something, what you will find in the course of your life is that somebody who doesn't have that special skill or talent will tell you that you need to learn how to do it without that special skill or talent. And that just really doesn't make any sense. And there's no reason for anybody to tell you to do that. Because if you're excellent at something, you should just be excellent at something the way that you know how. And you have to have faith in yourself to do that. And I think that that's a big part of this movie.
So to sum it up, if you have a special talent, don't let people tell you that you shouldn't be using it.
Exactly. Why wouldn't you?
Because it's your special talent.
Right.
Like me with reading. I'm very good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I would be just really mad at the person who told me, well, you shouldn't use your reading powers, just read.
Yeah.
Jeez, woman.
Claire, don't process information so quickly. You read slower so that you read as fast as me. And then we'll see who reads better. Like, that's what that's what Jan Rog is saying to her, right? Like, it's such a basic skill for her fighting. And he's like, no, you fight the way I fight, and then I'll beat you up, and then that will prove to you that you're not so super hot at fighting. Like, what a horrible friendship that he paraded as. So terrible. What else do you want to say about the movie?
I really like the first scene where she's like waking up from that dream with the glowy thing on her neck.
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought that those were really cool Cree earrings.
Yep. Okay.
That glows. Glue is not a word.
Yes.
Well, glue is a word, but it's
a different word. What else?
Well, I think that's just about it.
Okay.
I think we should stop this segment, do whatever scene from the movie that you normally do to go into your podcast. And so I'll see you next time.
Captain Marvel with Claire. Boy, I really can't express just how into this movie that she was through the entire course of it. When she says that the fight scene was her favorite part, she's not joking. Man, as soon as that No Doubt beat dropped, she was dancing in the seat, her fist pumping and moving around, and ate up every second of that editing. And I think that fight scene was fabulously edited. They, for all the part that's running to I'm Just a Girl, I actually think that stuff is magic. It is amazing. She was totally engaged. And I don't know, I feel like I saw some folks on the internet. Well, that doesn't matter, man. People on the internet, they like what they like or they don't like what they don't like. But I tell you what, that song and fight scene was a huge victory on our end. Yeah, we've been watching, Claire and I have been watching Marvel movies for years. She's seen every Marvel movie in the MCU. And I mean, if you've been listening, you know that she's seen some other Marvel movies, like we did an episode of Blade for the podcast. So like, she's not unfamiliar with comic books, and she's not unfamiliar with the kind of storytelling that they do. And I think if the MCU has a flaw overall, it's that it becomes quite complicated to engage in some of these stories when you don't know the rest of the plot. Or, for example, if you forget what happened in the other movies. But Claire had no problem keeping up with it. She clocked that it was a prequel. There was no issue there. And she totally got how Captain Marvel is going to be back in Infinity War 2, or Avengers Endgame, I guess. But yeah, the Marvel stuff's been a lot of fun for us to watch together, and I really kind of enjoyed seeing her passion build for it. She reads a lot of comics. Anytime she has to see a comic that I'm reading, for the most part, I pretty much say yes. There's no major issues for me with her reading that stuff. I feel the same way about comic books as I do about movies. If she's engaged in the story and she gets something out of it, she's actually reading it, I think right on, let's do it. And so I think, in point of fact, I think I only have the digital versions of the Kelly Sue DeConnick run of Captain Marvel, but I think that those comics are definitely something that she'll eat up, and I'll probably be getting the trade paperbacks for her to go through and read to carry this on. I tell you the other thing, we talk about representation in movies a lot. I certainly do, I guess, talk about that a lot and the importance of it. Look at the difference if you listen to the Blade episode versus her talking about the Captain Marvel episode. The character that she most attached to in Blade was Blade's mom. And just the way that they wrote that character in that movie, that is by far the weakest thing about Blade, is the writing behind the motivation of his mom. It's not just the weakest thing. I hate it. I think it's horrible. I really love the rest of the movie, but I think that's just horrible. And it was shocking to me that was the character that she connected with the most, because it was the one that she could relate to the most. And then you look at a movie like Captain Marvel, where it's so easy for her to relate to the characters on the screen, between Carol Danvers and Rambeau and their kid. I think it's just much, much easier for her to directly engage and relate to what's going on in front of her. I mean, obviously, we have to learn to watch movies about other stories. other people's stories, because that's what helps to grow our understanding of the importance of empathy and our ability to relate to the people around us and their experiences. But you know what, man, sometimes it's helpful just to see yourself on the screen and have something that you think is cool and awesome to aspire to. And I absolutely loved her connection with the movie for that. I mean, in point of, we brought the whole fam. It wasn't just Claire and I that went. Her younger sisters, Harper and Quinn, who are 6 and 4, both engaged the entire movie, loved every bit of it. Harper loved it to pieces. If you ask her what her favorite Marvel movie is, she 1,000% would say Black Panther, because her birthday is coming up, and even still a year on, she wants a whole Black Panther themed party because she thought that movie was great. And so it was a real treat to see the girls connect with the movie as strongly as they did and have as much fun with it as they did. But yeah. So, Claire and I talk about it, and we kind of explore some of the themes of the movie in sort of a lighter way that we do. I'm not always quite sure how directly to talk with the kids about misogyny or sexism or experiences like that. I don't think every conversation needs to be about that exactly, because I think that becomes disheartening. But the reality of her experience is that she's going to have a much harder time with that than I did, precisely because she's going to be a young woman, and that's how people are going to treat her. And in that regard, I absolutely love Captain Marvel for giving her a story that shows a kid who will embrace being herself and not listen to the men in her life telling her to not be as great as she absolutely is. I think I'll close out this segment. I saw a really great quote from Kelly Sue DeConnick, who wrote the Captain Marvel run, the most recent Captain Marvel run that kind of kicked off Carol Danvers as we see her in the movie. And I think that it was, I just saw it in a tweet, and it was from an interview that she had done maybe a couple years back. But basically she said that, the main difference between Captain America and Captain Marvel is that, Steve Rogers keeps getting up because it's the right thing to do every single time. Where Captain Marvel gets up every single time because fuck you. And I thought that's just absolutely to the core. That's the character. That's Captain Marvel in a nutshell. And that plays out in every way in that movie. And, even though I don't think we get totally into the weeds in that kind of conversation and what they're saying about it, you could tell that Claire gets that in the way that she talks about stuff. And I love that. I'm really enjoyed watching Captain Marvel because of that. All right. So I think that'll do it for us this time. If you haven't followed us on Twitter, you can find Bill and Claire's Excellent Adventure at BACEA Podcast on Twitter. You can find me at WBDAS on Twitter, Letterboxd, Instagram. On my Letterboxd feed, I'm running a collection of movies for a list of Bill and Claire's Excellent Adventure podcast movies. So if you want to know what movie's coming up, sometimes we don't choose those until, say, the Saturday or Sunday that we do the screening and the recording. But you'll definitely get a drop on other folks if you find me on Letterboxd and follow me there. Let's see. If you have not subscribed to the iTunes feed, we really would appreciate it if you would make some time to go out, subscribe, and leave a 5-star review. This is the kind of help that only listeners like you can provide, and it's exactly the sort of thing that we need to generate in order to expand our reach and our awareness, so that when people search for podcasts, they'll stumble onto ours, and then we can grow our listener base. So I'd love you guys forever if you would help do that. If you do leave a review, I'll read it out on the podcast and shout you out for being the cool cats that you are. Yep. And so, as always, Bill and Claire's Excellent Adventure is an In the Mouth of Darkness production, and you can find that podcast at itmodcast, ITMODcast, on Twitter and at facebook.com/itmodcast. Like and follow the page there. And you can find the other dorks, Brad Gullickson at MouthDork on all social medias, Lisa Gullickson at Sidewalk Siren on Twitter, I think Letterboxd and Instagram, and also at BakeDork on Twitter and Instagram. And you can find Brian Young at The Turtle Dork on Twitter, at The Turtle Dork 1 on Instagram, and at Brian B. Young on Facebook. Boy, I really am leaning into that 1,000%, and I still have not fact checked. So, Brian, but drop me a message if I'm messing that up, because I want to make sure that I'm right. And then last but certainly not least, Darren the Disco Dork Smith. You can find him at the Disco Dork on all social medias. And that'll do it for this time. Until next time.